As soon as the last calf had been finished, they were all let out to rejoin their mamas. An interesting thing about cattle is that every cow can tell her own calf by the scent. She never makes a mistake and keeps looking for her young one until she finds it. By this time, the boys had worked up a healthy appetite. It didn't take long for them to wash up and fall in for chow. At Gus's ranch, a cowboy eats well. Mrs. Roberson has charge of the food, and a man takes away all he can carry without a wheelbarrow. For a while, the only sound was the chomping of jaws. But a cowboy has too much energy to sit still for long. If there's nothing else to do, he'll start a roughhouse. A cowboy's everyday chores keep him plenty busy. He's a jack of all trades. Beside being nursemaid to the pedigreed stock, he has to know how to be a blacksmith and shoe his own horse. When something needs to be built or repaired, he turns carpenter. He's an expert at grooming a prize bull for a show. He can milk a cow as well as any farmhand. And in springtime, he's out there in rubber boots with a shovel, digging irrigation ditches. But when you see him riding the range or relaxing in the bunkhouse, it takes you back to the Old West.
He was huddled in a heap at the head of the draw, all cuddled in a bunch to keep warm. Lampy tied his feet, told him o'er his horse, then he started for the shack. But the wind commenced to blow, and the snow piled high and pulled Limpy straight from his track. He reached Camp 3 in the morning, and he put the little maverick to bed. He flopped in his bunk, unable to move. The next morning, poor Limpy were dead. Now there's a room full of a cowboy who has that kind of love, and he'll soon be riding old paint over again when he rides on that range up above.
All through May and June, the cattle have been moving up into the foothills to graze. Along about July, the grass there turns brown too, and now starts the long drive up into the mountains where the green pastures lie. Every year, the trail they take is about the same. Cattle will follow like sheep, so the cowboys pick a bull and a couple of cows who know the way and use them as leaders. With this advance group goes the trail boss, and the main herd follows. The dogs help keep the herd moving. I thought they must be specially trained, but the boys said no, they just like to do it, and one taught the other.
Right
was right up there with the rest of the boys. The herd was only going 3 miles an hour.
We'll jump after love and the song. One went to Denver and the other went home. His wife, she died in a pool of fight, and still he keeps singing from morning till night.
The trail leads across rocky slopes and gullies and through woods, and the cowboys have their hands full keeping the herd together. By now, my horse was going his own gait, and mighty rough it was, too. I wondered how many cattle we had left behind in the woods. I was amazed to find out that we hadn't lost a single head on the drive so far, and that such a thing rarely happened. The trail wasn't always straight up, but slowly we were gaining altitude. It takes 2 to 3 days to reach the top, and the cowboys never push the herd because they don't want the cattle to lose weight. Progress may be slow, but there's never a dull minute. Cattle are contrary beasts. One may suddenly break and run for the nearest cliff and have to be driven back before he falls and kills himself. Finally, the long drive came to an end. The cattle stood grazing quietly. The men unsaddled their horses. Even the dogs rested. And where was I? 1.5 miles behind. My horse and I had reached a mutual understanding. I was to walk, he was to carry the saddle, and no charges would be brought by either party. I took quite a kidding from the boys when I arrived, but I was so glad to sit down I didn't care. We were 12,000 feet up and it got cold that night. We needed the campfire and plenty of hot coffee to keep warm. And as we sat there, I got the strange feeling that time had moved backwards and that all this was happening 100 years ago.